I'm First Alert Meteorologist Chrissy Kohler. We have Tropical Depression 9 that has now formed just north of Cuba and is going to move over the Bahamas as we head throughout the day today. Expected to be a tropical storm later today. The next name on the list is it's expected to be a tropical storm and a gradually strengthening tropical storm as it moves up and over the Bahamas. And then it hits the warm waters of the Gulf Stream off the coast of Florida. And so Monday night into Tuesday morning, this is possibly going to become a Category 1 hurricane. You notice, though, how it kind of approaches the coast of South Carolina and then starts to curve out to the east. And that's a trend we've been watching throughout the morning hours. And the latest update from the National Hurricane Center, falling in line with that particular trend that we're seeing. It's a slower progression of this storm, which is part of the reason that we expect that turn. Now, keep in mind, this system is going to have impacts outside of that cone of uncertainty. The cone shows us where that center of circulation could pass. And keep in mind, any little wobbles to the west brings more impacts back to the Carolinas, and a little wobble to the east would actually bring down those potential impacts for the Carolinas. So there's still a little bit of a variety of possibilities here when we're talking about what's going to be happening next week. This is a look, though, at those spaghetti models where the trend, again, has been for that curve to the east. You have a couple of outliers out there, but those are not taking into account a lot of different scenarios there. Some of the ones that have a lot more wrapped up into them are showing that turn. And it's a wide variety here, even where you've got those bluer spaghetti models showing that curve happening just around the northern tip of the Bahamas. And then you've got some that get it a little bit closer to the coast of South Carolina. So there's still some variation here in when we're going to start to see that turn out to the east and away from the coast of the U.S. And some of that actually has to do with Hurricane Humberto. This is a dangerous Category 4 hurricane, 145 mile per hour winds. And there is some indication this could, for a period of time later today or tomorrow, become a Category 5 hurricane in the open waters of the Atlantic. But then it takes that turn around to the north and then to the northeast and sets its sights on Bermuda. So Bermuda going to make either a very close pass or even possibly a direct hit there as a major Category 3 hurricane. But it's kind of working its way right around the Bermuda High is what Humberto is doing. But what you need to understand here is Humberto, with that Category 4 strength, that's a powerful storm. There's a lot of energy wrapped up in that. And then you've got the weaker Tropical Depression 9, possibly a tropical storm later today. And those two storms are very close together in terms of what we're looking at in terms of the Atlantic Basin. So when you've got these storms that are closer in proximity like this, Humberto is going to start to try to pull Tropical Depression 9 out to the east, which is what we're kind of seeing here. As Humberto starts to make that curve around the Bermuda High there. You see that around where that 3 is, where it becomes a Category 3. That's when it's going to start to pull Tropical Depression 9 with it, or possibly a hurricane at that point, with it out to the east. Plus, we've got this dip in the jet stream off to our west, so that's going to kind of help to guide that away from the coastline. That front gets stalled up along the coast here as we head into the weekend. And so therefore, that's kind of a little bit of a blocking mechanism, although Tropical Depression 9 is going to try to make a run at pushing that back off to the west, since there's not really anything behind it to really kind of force its hand there. We've got more of a stagnant setup over the continental U.S. So again, the trend this morning, though, is that Humberto is going to really kind of exert its influence over our tropical system here that nears the coast. You'll notice, though, that we're still getting some of these rains. Even though we're not getting the worst of the storm and those direct impacts coming up and over land into the Carolinas, we're still getting some of those rains, some of those gusty winds, especially for the coast, but maybe even here into parts of the western Carolinas as we head mainly Monday night into Tuesday. This is a look at the European model, again showing that trend that we're going to see not a direct hit on the U.S., but that curve out to the east, but still pushing that tropical moisture into the Carolinas. So this is a trend we're still going to watch. We're looking at less impacts, and over time we may even trend those back even a little bit there, but we're still again looking at that potential for some tropical moisture to make it onshore. Bigger impacts at the coast for us here. We're trend down with this, less than an inch for a lot of us, although we still could get some gusty showers. Main time frame is going to be late Monday into Tuesday. possibly into the early hours of Wednesday. We could get up to around 2 inches, mainly further to the west, or east, excuse me, into places like Newberry County, maybe lower parts of Union County, but that's a little on the higher end there. And again, we may be trending these back in the coming days, where we see even less impacts, and possibly if this moves far enough to away from our area, trending on the things. Now keep in mind, the flip side of that is, if this system starts to pull back to the west, that's when we're going to start to see that potential for maybe some higher impacts. So there's still a lot to work through. I will tell you, there will be changes to the impacts that we are going to see. We are fine-tuning these details every time we get a new set of data, so make sure that you're staying up to date with the latest on everything that's happening with our Tropical Depression 9 eventually becoming a tropical storm. We will keep you updated on everything and what those trends are looking like every time we get a new set of data. Count on the First Alert Weather Team to keep you up to date on everything.